So here's a video that was made as an introductory video for the 10 Commandments.
All right.
Sweet.
10 Commandments. 10.
No document in world history so changed the world for the better.
Wow. So in the dictionary next to the word Republican, this guy's face.
Old white guy.
Just, I mean, like, when you think... I don't know, when I have a mental vision...
You look so uptight, yeah.
When I have a mental vision of, like, what does a hardcore Republican look like? I see that face.
Yeah.
I don't know who this guy is. I've never seen him before. Maybe we've done him on the show.
I think
Maybe.
I think we have
so.
done him before.
I mean, he looks vaguely familiar, but that is the most Republican
I think you and
face
Ben
I've ever
DP'd him
seen.
earlier.
Yeah, we DP'd him.
Yeah, we DP'd the fuck
We
out of that,
DP'd
dude.
that fuck.
Look at that face. Yeah.
You could tell he's been
thinking
DP'd.
about it. He's thinking about it last night.
Yep.
Anyways.
It wasn't face.
Anyways, TJ.
It wasn't face and asshole. It was just double asshole.
So no other, did he call it a document?
Yes.
He said no other document has changed the world for the better
He'll
more.
probably call it an historical document.
Well, I mean,
love saying that. It's historical.
The problem with that is that so many of these, I mean, like, to say, you know, like, a lot of these Christians are like, oh, the 10 Commandments is the foundations of morality. It's like, no, it's not. Because, first of all these people, I mean, like, people knew before this that murdering each other was bad. People knew that theft was bad.
Oh, no, they had no idea, TJ.
And then there's so many rules on the list that don't even have anything to do with modern morality, like keep the Sabbath day holy. No one even pays attention to that. Don't covet. I mean, come on. Everyone covets.
Commandments.
Bullshit.
You're wrong, TJ.
Western civilization, the civilization that developed universal human rights, created women's equality, ended slavery, created parliamentary democracy,
what
other
the fuck? Stop.
The slavery is condoned in the Bible.
Okay, so
subjugating women is condoned in the Bible.
All right, Scotty's beating me to it, but that's basically, I mean, like, what?
What a joke.
I mean, look, if the 10 Commandments had shit like, thou shalt abolish slavery wherever you find it, thou shalt acknowledge that women are equal. I mean, like, in fact, women are basically listed as property within the 10 Commandments themselves, where it says, don't covet your neighbor's wife. You know, it just says, don't covet his ass. We're talking about his donkey here. Don't covet his land and all this other shit, and also don't covet his wife, because that's part of his property.
Oh, yeah.
Don't covet his wife, who he owns. So, I mean, like, to say, oh, you know, this is the foundation of universal human rights and ending sexism and ending slavery, like, bullshit. You're so stunningly full of absolute fucking dog shit. It's almost unfathomable.
Not have developed without them. As you will see when each of the 10 Commandments is explained.
No.
These commandments are as relevant today
as
when they were given over 3,000 years ago.
Wrong.
Yeah, completely and utterly wrong.
I feel like a hook should come out at this point and drag him off the screen.
Where's the gong?
Our Bronze Age mythology is as relevant as it's always been. Actually, it's not. Sorry.
This primitive list of stupid rules that I think only 3 of them are actually laws. Only 3 of them are actual laws of our society. This list is somehow just as relevant and fresh as it ever was.
Depends on the country you're talking about, but yeah, I'd say in the U.S., that's probably the case, because I'm sure...
Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness.
I want to say that the Sabbath thing could possibly be used against you in some countries, because some places are like really Christian, you know what I mean? Like Macedonia or fucking...
Yeah, asshole-donia is more like it.
Yeah, I think Macedonia just recently banned gay marriage.
Asshole-donia?
Even though I'm sure it wasn't accepted before.
Macedonia?
It was so accepted.
Yeah.
In fact, they're so relevant that the 10 Commandments are all that is necessary to make a good world, a world free of tyranny and cruelty.
What?
Imagine for a moment a world in
You're
which
a
there was
lunatic.
no murder or theft. In such a world, there would be no need for armies or police.
Hold on. So, first of all, okay, imagine a world in which there's no murder or theft. Murder and theft are illegal pretty much everywhere on the goddamn planet, unless you go to places where there's just no centralized government. Just because something is against the rules doesn't mean people stop doing it. People break the rules. So just saying, like, this is all you need for a peaceful world, because imagine if you outlawed murder and theft. We've already done that. Murder's already illegal. Theft's already illegal. They still happen.
Right. Laws against things very rarely fully eliminate the things that they've outlawed.
Sometimes they don't even mitigate it.
No.
Yeah, prohibition, basically.
Yeah.
Or weapons, men and women and children could walk anywhere at any time of day or night without any fear of being killed or robbed.
What about severely
Imagine
beaten?
further a world in which no one coveted what belonged to their neighbor. A world in which children honored their mother and father and the family unit throughout.
That's not always a good thing, you fucking halfwit.
Right. What if their parents are molesting them?
Yeah, what if your parents are pieces of shit? What if your parents are assholes?
They're your mother and father.
Honor them. Honor them. And not coveting your neighbor's shit?
Yeah, your neighbor might live in a mansion, you might live in a shack, but good for them.
You live in a shack and have no running water. Don't covet your neighbor that lives in a house and has running water.
It's kind of like the antithesis of capitalism.
I know, it's like, it's basically saying, just accept your shitty lot in life. Don't fucking do anything to try to change it.
Well, of course.
I mean, it's not saying you can't even covet other person's things. I mean, you're basically undermining the foundations of the capitalist system that most of these Republican assholes seem to love so much.
Right.
And just jerk off over.
I've even heard Republicans say, when they grew up poor and they saw people that had better stuff than them, it motivated them.
Right. What were they doing? They were coveting. Coveting
course.
is not a bad thing. It can be if you take it to some dark extreme.
And they do the "thou shalt not covet your neighbor's wife." Does that mean your neighbor's wife has a nice ass and you look at it? That's like
you're a bad person,
right there. Like
I mean, what if your neighbor's wife has? Yeah, what if she's fucking amazing and you just fucking can't help but look and just
Yeah, I mean, just looking. What if you'd never even say anything about it?
You pop a little fucking half chub or something.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, I just coveted my neighbor's wife. Shit, God's angry at me now.
Hell. Going to hell, TJ.
A world in which people obeyed the injunction not to lie. The recipe for a good world is all there in these 10 sublime commandments.
No.
Okay, so I have a question then. So he's saying all this, these sublime commandments. Okay, so they all say America was founded as a Christian nation. So if I have all these Christians here, then what's the problem? Why don't we live in paradise? I'm sure now here comes the sophistry that explains why that even though that we have these wonderful commandments, why people don't follow them.
But I mean, what he's saying doesn't make any sense because he started off saying, if the 10 Commandments is all we need for a peaceful world. And then he's like, people would have to absolutely obey them 100%. It's like, okay, so they would have to function like no other law or rule in human history.
Right.
Where it's just universally followed and accepted.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone could make rules. Imagine how much better the world would be if everyone did this. It doesn't take a fucking genius to cook that up.
Yes, it does.
But there is a catch. The 10 Commandments are predicated on the belief that they were given by an authority higher than any man, any king, or any government. That's why the sentence preceding the 10 Commandments asserts the following: God spoke all these words. You see, if the 10 Commandments, as great as they are, were given by any human authority, then any person could say, who is this man Moses? Who is this king or queen?
Okay.
And you can't say, who is this God that I've never seen and no one's ever demonstrated to exist?
No.
Who is this government?
That's an axiom, TJ.
Okay, but here's the thing. It doesn't. It makes it actually. If it came from God, it actually has less authority. Because God, you don't know. You can't prove God. The government. Who is this government? The government is a people with a bunch of fucking militaristic force at their disposal, who can have your ass arrested, put in jail, do whatever the fuck they want. Who's the king? He's the same fucking thing. He's got power.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you can see the government, you can see the king, you can't see God.
And they actually have means of forcing your compliance here on Earth.
Sure, of course.
God doesn't have that. All God has is I'm this invisible thing that you've only heard about from other people.
God is going to turn you into salt, TJ.
Well, good.
Me how I should behave. Okay, so why is God indispensable to the Ten Commandments?
It's not.
Because, to put it as directly as possible, if it isn't God who declares murder wrong, murder isn't wrong.
Whoa.
Awesome. So, I'm an atheist. You said it's only a murder if God declares it to be, murder, which is basically, because I mean, like, really, murder doesn't even become a big deal. Because I can just kill anyone for any reason. I mean, so by his logic, if this is all, if God is not real, then it's just totally okay to break all these rules, and people will. So I just don't know how he explains atheists. Like, shouldn't atheists just be these crime-ridden, like that's the atheist ghetto over there where they don't have any rules,
The atheist ghetto.
I mean, that's pretty much what he's saying.
Yeah.
Like, atheists are just commit crimes, and anyone who doesn't believe this just is horrible.
I'm sorry. Atheists, 99.99% of atheists believe murder to be wrong. So, the fact that
But it's
you
not
think
murder, TJ.
the fact that you think that you need God for that kind of says more about you and your mindset than it does about theology. IMO.
Yes, this strikes many people today as incomprehensible, even absurd. Many of you are thinking, is this guy saying you can't be a good person if you don't believe in God? Let me respond as clearly as possible. I am not saying that. Of course there are good people who don't believe in God, just as there are bad people who do. And many of you are also thinking, I believe murder is wrong. I don't need God to tell me.
Yep.
Now that response is only half true. I have no doubt that if you're an atheist and you say that you believe murder is wrong, you believe murder is wrong. But forgive me, you do need God to tell you.
No, I don't.
We all need God to tell us.
God's never told me. I know murder is wrong. I don't need God to tell me. When has God told me? Are you going to say that?
Yeah, God himself has told us nothing. You're basically saying this book...
He's probably going to go this route of like, oh, God inscribed it on every human heart or something. Like, oh, God made us all inherently aware of these rules.
No, he didn't. Why would he need a Bible then? Why would there need to be a Bible if you inherently knew everything that was in the Bible or the rules you were supposed to follow?
And why would anyone even break them then?
Yeah, exactly. Like, if it was like almost instinctual, like just don't do any of these things, or an all-powerful, all-knowing deity will just kill you, I think I would actually follow the rules then.
Pussy.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure if that was the actual standard, TJ, you'd be breaking the rules left and right.
I would tell God to go fuck himself.
And then you'd be dead.
Send me to hell. I don't care. Cosmic cocksucker.
Yeah, whatever, TJ.
Cosmic cocksucker.
You're so full of shit.
Even
Fuck
if you figured
God.
out murder was wrong on your own, without God and the Ten Commandments, how do you know it's wrong? Not believe it's wrong. I mean, know it's wrong.
Well, hold on. If I
The fact is,
if I believe that it's wrong, why do I need to know that it's wrong?
Yeah,
What does know even mean in that instance?
I guess he's trying to say, like, absolutely.
All right, well, here's how I know. I know
objectively.
I know that murder is wrong because I wouldn't want to be murdered, and I think that, penalizing it by law discourages that sort of behavior because, I want myself to be safe. I want other people that I care about to be safe from murder, so that's why I know that a law against murder is a good idea. Because it makes people reticent to take that activity, even if they kind of want to.
It's an insult to just a secular model and a critical thinking model. It's like, hey, if you just examine the issue critically with like, do I want to be assaulted and hurt and have people steal my shit? No. Would anyone else probably want that? It's very unlikely that anyone would want that to happen to them. Therefore, we pass laws against these kind of things. It's not because some magical man in the sky was like, oh, it's bad. And like, oh, I had no idea. I had no idea I didn't want someone to come take all of my shit. Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Spank you very much.
you can't. Because without God, right and wrong are just personal beliefs, personal opinions.
Okay, so let me ask you a question then.
Is over.
If there is a God, why would his opinion automatically be objective? because he created the universe? Does that really follow? I mean, then let me ask you this.
No, God clearly seems biased if you read the Bible.
But I mean, if God, are you saying that it's good because God says it, or God says it because it's good? Because either way, there's problems. If you're saying it's good because God says it, then anything God says is good, including, like, you know, if God tells you go kill all those school children, like, well, it's good because it's coming from God. And then morality is basically meaningless because it's just basically the whims of some fucking cosmic entity that are mostly unknowable, other than the stuff he wrote down in some book. And if that's the case, then we should fucking follow every one of the commandments as if it's like, oh, keep the Sabbath holy, no one do anything, don't pick up any sticks, it's the Sabbath.
Okay, you don't. Unless there is a God, all morality is just opinion and belief.
So what?
And virtually every atheist philosopher has acknowledged this. Another problem with the view that you don't need God to believe that murder is wrong is a lot of people haven't shared your view. And you don't have to go back very far in history to prove this.
Many Christians don't share that view either, despite having a book that says it explicitly.
Yeah, we all know the Crusades were nonviolent.
And, I mean, there's plenty of Christians who commit murder all the time in America.
Actually, Christian states are people are more likely to commit murder.
Yeah, actually, there's actually correlations between religiosity of states and murder rates in states.
Same thing with obesity, too.
Yeah.
Huh.
Religious people are just a bunch of fat, murdering assholes.
Can't figure it out.
Yep.
In the 20th century, millions of people in communist societies and under Nazism killed about 100 million people. And that doesn't count a single soldier killed in war. So don't get too confident about people's ability to figure out right from wrong without a higher authority.
What? Hold on.
So what
It's
is your
all
excuse
too
for the
easy.
Nazis?
But the Nazis had higher authorities. I mean, I don't understand why we've literally had to go through this numerous times on the show.
About 100 times, at least.
Read Mein Kampf, read Hitler's speeches, acknowledge the fact that the Nazis' first ever treaty was with the Catholic Church, acknowledge the fact that Nazi soldiers had Gott mit uns on their belts, which means God on our side or God with us. Can we just acknowledge these things and stop with this notion that the Nazis were a bunch of secularists, because they weren't?
Pol Pot and Hitler and Stalin, they all did it in the name of atheism. It's like, no, they didn't. Let's just stop these lies.